So, welcome to Ask GC Anything. Coming up today, I answer your questions on shopping for jeans if you have big legs, calculating your uphill power output, and coping with pain from hours on the saddle. Don't forget, if you have a question that you would like answered on the show, drop it in the comments below using the hashtag Torqueback. And to be with a chance of winning a free 3-month subscription to Zwift, use the hashtag Ask GCN Training. Turlu Tutu is up first with a question about jeans. Let's say I have sprinter legs. I'm referring to the shape, not necessarily the power output. Any recommendation for pants to wear off the bike for casual or business environments? Well, it's a really good question. And I would recommend trying to find a brand of jeans or trousers that actually use a little extra lycra in the material rather than just cotton. This will afford you a little extra stretch and will help the jeans fit better around your thighs. And trust me, I do feel your pain. At the biggest, my thighs were 66 centimeters or 26 inches around, and it made finding trousers that fit comfortably really, really difficult. But as I said before, jeans that do contain a little extra stretch to them will make it easier to find something that you can wear more comfortably. And then if you do have deeper pockets, try and find something that comes with a specific cycling fit. So if you Google cycling jeans, you will come up with a few results, but they're not going to be the cheapest of jeans. Good luck, bear with it, you will find something that you're comfortable wearing. Next up is a question about saddle pain from Yella Gackums. Hi guys, fairly new to cycling. I only started doing road cycling about a month ago. I've learned a lot from the channel, so thank you for that. I did 700 kilometers in total on the road now. But every time I do longer efforts, over 50 kilometers, I get massive pain from the saddle. People I ride with say my body needs to get used to this and that it gets better over time. But my guess is something's not quite right. Well, Yella, any discomfort or undesirable sensations down there, unless it's coming only from the skin, is a sign that your body's trying to tell you something's up. So if you're getting any sort of soft tissue discomfort or nerve discomfort down there, then you definitely need to stop and do something to change that situation. So it's either your cycling shorts maybe aren't padded as much as they could be, or the padding doesn't quite suit your body. But my suspicion is that it's probably your saddle isn't quite made for your sit bones and it doesn't fit comfortably underneath you. So what you want to do is you want to try and find a saddle that's, well, ideally you'd have yourself measured actually so that your sit bones fall properly onto the saddle, and then maybe try and play around with your saddle position. Maybe the tilt of the saddle could help you a little bit. If it is skin discomfort though, that will disappear over the time because your skin will sort of harden back to the saddle, but by the sounds of it, it's a little more than that. Don't ignore the signs that something's wrong. Get something done as soon as you can. This week's Zwift winning question comes in from Michael Hogan, who, after 36 years with only slight bouts of athleticism, has started running just over a year ago, and 6 months after that got into cycling. Once a week, he also does some calisthenics on top of his 2 days of running and 2 days of cycling. He wants to know how to improve his FTP, his threshold power, and his endurance. We would say it's a fantastic job so far, and well done on your consistency of your training. Doing those 3 activities will really help you boost your fitness. And with the limited time you have available for specific cycle training, you'll certainly be using your time well by doing it indoors. Forgive me, I'm reading a little bit of this off the screen from Zwift, because they write in with the answer for us, basically. This will allow you to complete very specific intervals along with the other benefits of indoor training, such as training with an increased core body temperature. You'll be targeting and making improvements in your cardiovascular fitness from your running training, which means you can really focus your cycle training on specific fitness aspects, including your threshold and your endurance. For the cycle training, it's beneficial to approach your 2 sessions each week as a block of specific work. By this, they mean that in 1 week, you would complete 2 threshold type sessions, and then in the following week, you do 2 endurance type sessions. You do this and alternate them because that'll load each energy system at the time, which means that you can get that targeted volume on those specific aspects. It's also beneficial to complete your sessions relatively close to each other. Give yourself then a day of rest or 2 before you go running again. And in terms of specific training, to target your threshold with 2 sessions a week, you'll want to perform 1 workout that consists of 3 to 5 minute intervals at threshold power with a short recovery of 90 seconds. And over that time, you'll be able to increase your output for the intervals, so the hard part of that session. And for the second one, look to perform longer intervals of 8 to 12 minutes with a slightly longer recovery of 4 to 5 minutes. So if you notice, your recovery is around half of your workload. These sub-threshold intervals should be 88 to 94% of your threshold, which is otherwise known sometimes as sweet spot. For your endurance, targeted sessions, we want to perform low intensity work, but endurance training does not consist of steady low intensity riding. So for your first endurance session of the week, perform 2 to 3 sets of 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So that 30 seconds on is just above threshold power, followed by the recovery. Start out with 5 of those, so 5 minutes worth of those, which will give you 2.5 minutes of workload, and increase the amount up to 10 minutes, which will give you 5 minutes of workload. For the second endurance session, you want to perform a steady zone 2 ride, so that is really strict at one level. C&E is up next. I've never had a cutout seat, but I'm thinking of moving to one for a little bit of extra comfort. Do your nudges get wet in the rain if you're riding with a cutout? Well, it's a bizarre question because I imagine if you're riding in the rain, you're going to get wet anyway, regardless of what your saddle looks like. Weirdly though, a few years ago I rode on the Factor 1, the bike with the famous 2 down tubes, and you got absolutely soaked from the front wheel when riding with that. Your bottle would get filthy, and it's kind of a hidden secret. They didn't tell you about that bike. Anyway, next up is Frank Heinrichs. I have a style question. I use a top tube bag for the things I need on every ride, and I just leave it on my bike and then add an extra large saddle bag for longer tours. However, top tube bags seem to be regarded the ultimate style faux pas by some riders. Why is that? And what do you think? Greetings from Southern Australia. Well, Frank, I really wouldn't worry about it at all. Function over fashion always wins in my book. And if you find it's more comfortable to ride with a top tube bag than anything else, then ignore the cycling snobs and you carry on. Most riders do put stuff in their jersey pockets, but if you're going for a really long ride, then I can completely understand why you'd want a top tube bag, and triathletes don't seem to mind. So ignore the cycling snobs, it's not all about fashion.
When it comes to packing your saddlebag, the question everyone really asks is, well, what do you actually need? So in this video, I'm going to run you through all the things that we think you should be taking out on your bike.
Next up is a question from Avisa Jokelainen. Why on earth does the UCI have an official list of riders taller than 1.90 m? It's a brilliant question, and I can completely understand why you might be questioning that, because it does seem like quite a weird thing to have. But it is in fact for the UCI rule mentioned in Article 1.3013, allowing an extension of the reach of the time trial bike by 5 centimeters. So the tip of the extensions, the tri-bars on a time trial bike, must be no further than 80 centimeters in front of the bottom bracket when measured vertically like that. However, if you are over 1.90 m, you're allowed that extra 5 centimeters. The reason for this is a morphological exemption, as the text on your screen now will be describing. Nick Blythe up next with, hi guys, is there a formula to work out the power needed to climb an incline? 80 kilo rider climbing a 10% incline at 5 miles an hour equals X watts. Well, yes, there is, sort of. I mean, I don't know the formula and I don't know how they got to their answers, but if you know your weight, your bike's weight, the weather conditions, then bikecalculator.com is for you. I've used it in the past with quite good effect, and if you look on your screen now, you'll be able to see the sort of chart that you can input your values into, and it will come out with a number that is a really good estimate. I mean, it's not going to be power meter accurate, but it's going to be in the ballpark. Good luck. And Newman writes in with the penultimate question. I desire significant gains in my 30-second max power. Should I incorporate contrast training based upon post-activation potentiation into my training regime? If not, to where should my focus be directed? I prefer to train outside and have many convenient local hills. And I think this is a brilliant question and something that you don't actually hear that much about in the world of cycling. Don't go overboard, as is often advised with this sort of exercise, because if you fatigue the muscles before you want to go out and train them, they won't be fresh enough to hit the new peaks which you're trying to achieve by waking them up in the first place. For a cyclist, activating the muscles around the glutes and the hips can be really beneficial, because in the world that we live in these days, a modern lifestyle, we spend a lot more time sat down than we used to, just like I am right now. And then something like box jumps for your explosive sprints will really help. But again, you don't want to go overboard with those. So you don't want to reach too high. You certainly don't want to head up towards your absolute max jump. What you want to do is just try and wake up the awareness of those muscle groups, so that when you go out on the bike, you know that they're there, you're aware of them and how they function and propel you forwards on the bike. The reason for doing these pre-training activation exercises is that they will help the neural pathways fire the muscles basically faster and more effectively than they would have had you not done this. So it's kind of like elongating your warm-up and preparing your muscles for what's gonna come. But as we said at the start, do not go overboard with the exercises. The idea is to weight them up, not to fatigue them and detract from your training. Good luck and enjoy it. It's certainly something that has been played with in certain teams that I've been in the past. The final question this week also comes from Twitter, and it's Andrew Lerner. Working towards an advanced degree at my university, my cycling fun's very limited. On a recent ride, I took a little spill in a particularly fun group sprint. Sadly, the worst of it was the hole in my favourite cycling bibs. Can I stitch them back together? Well, yes, of course you can. Of course, they're going to be ever so slightly smaller than they were before, and they won't look quite as pretty, but there's absolutely no reason why you can't stitch your kit back together. That's it for this week. If you do have a question, don't forget to use the hashtag Torqueback in the comments box below. And to be in with a chance of winning a free 3-month subscription to Zwift, use the hashtag Ask GCN Training. And before you do go, why not head over to the shop and check out our new Belgian t-shirts to celebrate the classic season, which is fast coming to an end actually. Shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com. Although my wife wasn't particularly happy to see me wearing a Belgian t-shirt this morning.